All right, Finance Nation here. So basically, um, does it take money to make money? Um, it might be January the 13th or January the 14th, somewhere around there. It is Friday. No, just kidding. That's Friday the 13th. That's what it is. Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th, 2023. So, does it take money to make money? So, I came across this TED Talk, and I've heard it before. And I was just watching different TED Talks, and I just came across a couple things, and I just wanted to just share some insights from myself. And so, basically, we'll start off with this one thing: the difference between $10,000 and going up $1,000 versus $100,000 going up $1,000, or $1,000 going to $2,000 up $1,000. So one of them requires a 10% return, one of them requires 1% return, and one of them requires a 100% return on your money to make that $1,000, depending on how much you have saved and or invested in a savings account or a stock market or treasury bills or what have you. And so this guy in particular, I'm going to switch gears here and go to what he was talking about. He was talking about a business, and he did not do that. He basically did legwork and got his name out there by talking to people, and literally dedicated hours of his time with his business partner on what he referred to as the beach, and literally just dedicated hours, maybe had flyers, got people to, I guess, sign up on his Instagram page and follow him. So if you got people to sign up for your free newsletter on the spot, being charisma saleswoman or salesman person on the spot, and just said, hey, take my newsletter, sign up for my free newsletter. And your newsletter, you're working on your newsletter, maybe you don't have any sales ads in your newsletter yet, but the idea is that you would later have sales ads in there, and you would sell spots to potential business owners, and that would be a business plan for whatever you're marketing. And you were like, hey, there's different avenues. Of course, different places that people frequent are going to be different in different areas, and how, people soliciting, and maybe different demographics are more prone to be asked to leave than other demographics. But so you have to think about your business partners if you're going to have one, and how you look, if that's going to even help, and if you have like a permit, because there's no soliciting allowed like anywhere where I live, so it might be that way everywhere in the country. And even if it's allowed, then people would be like, they would be very dismissive. But people have got to make a living, whether it's a real estate agent or something of that sort. So if even if you're a realtor, and there was another guy on multi-million-dollar listing several years ago, and in New York, he said he would go see people walking along and market himself to potential home buyers, and just talk to people to see if they were in the market to gain clients, potential clients. And so, are people going to sit there and say, hi, I don't like that guy talking to me about being a realtor and trying to talk to me? I'm going to go to a police guy, And, but that is a different market altogether, because it's like, oh, well, he's working a job versus someone trying to do a business. So if you were trying to market yourself like it's sort of deceptive, but you're like you were an employee of your own business, and you were trying to get people to sign up for your newsletter, That would be something else. But that was just an idea. So anyway, that was one thing. And um so I don't know how to segue right now. I'm gonna have to work on that. But the next thing was there was another TED Talk, and so what she mentioned was basically with savings of daily budgeting. It was like it was she didn't really mention budgeting, but she didn't use that. I'm not sure she used that word. She used at the end of the week, the people, one set group set was able to have $25 more saved than the other group on average, even though they each were paid every other week. And one group was told, this is your weekly pay. They divided their paycheck into two weekly pay and said, this is what your pay is. And it sort of lets you know, like, I've had more less lucrative employers, and they like, oh, we're going to pay you we're going to pay you weekly. And I've had more lucrative employers, and it's like, we're going to pay you every other week. So it's like, oh, so maybe they know this psychology that, and they don't even know that they know it, is they just know people maybe quit less because there is something there. And what it is that she got to is that people, the conclusion is that I'm using this conclusion is that people were able to budget an additional $25 savings in when they saw their paycheck on a weekly basis. And so it's like, if you broke down, what your savings was after your expenses and I don't want to say after your debt payments and after your what you had to spend on groceries and your variable expenses on gas and what you had to spend on clothes and what you had to spend on everything else, what your actual spending was, and what your interest was with your credit cards, if you were paying interest, what that was, then maybe possibly you would be in a group that could budget in with your paycheck an additional $25 on average savings per week. And so going back to earning money to make money. And he didn't need that with his business because he wasn't advertising dollars. He was getting his first group of followers that way on Instagram. But to make money, to have money, to make money, and so forth, and do this avenue. What was I saying? Oh no. But the paycheck. That's what I was saying. The paycheck, and then so if you have that extra $25, that $25 is going to go help you get from that $10,000 or that $1,000 that I mentioned to at the very beginning of the podcast, all the way up to that $100,000. So that in order to make that $1,000, all you have to do is have the market go up 1% to make that extra $1,000. You see, when that has to go up an extra 10%, that could take a year for the market to go up 10%. Meanwhile, if the market does go up 10%, the person that had $10,000, yeah, they got $1,000. But the person that had $100,000, if they had it invested in the same thing, in the same way, it would have gone up $10,000. Okay, so you're like, well, this is all obvious, and many of you definitely know all this. So it's gonna be drastic, and it's gonna be one of those things where you're like, you just need it to hear it or to say it in order for you to be like, whoa, yeah, it really does. It's not that it just takes money to make money in that sense. But how can you do that? How can you apply that application from legwork there to legwork in the investment side. And, there's investment courses, and there's free knowledge on YouTube that's dangerous, because they're not typically not financial investment advisors, and you could definitely, I think many of the ones I've seen on YouTube say you could lose all your money if you do this, and options, for instance, are risky and all that other stuff. And what else they do? Day trading's risky. Very few percentage are very successful at it. But what else could you do that with that takes legwork to get you there on the investment side? And just, you could brainstorm, you can map it out, you can set a goal. And like I said in my last podcast, people who have a financial plan, people who, in that sense, are much more likely, it's been said and reported, that they do several times better at the end when they reach age 65, retirement age. They have much more money in their investment and bank accounts than people who did not have financial plan goals. So if you did set a goal to do something, to get there, to just do it by legwork, and by legwork, I'm not meaning, legwork in some other sense and fashion, like, to, instead of doing just the side hustles, if you were to do some of the other, instead of just the job, the 9 to 5, maybe possibly the side hustles or royalty works, writing books and stuff like that. Of course, it's going to take some effort and some energy, and people don't always want to put that time in, because it's like, but where are you going to get that in, and where are you going to get that from? People get on YouTube and they say real estate is so easy. It's so easy, and I'm like, what? And after you're able to successfully do some of the maneuvers that some of them do, which is they don't even own the property and they can become really lucratively rich off of it, to me, I was like, there's a stress level, and it takes there is sometimes a learning curve, and it takes a success to tenacity to it. And I'm like, well, that's you've got to maintain that. And there is a potential stress level there in the beginning years. But if it's done right, then you don't have that stress level, because you're not the investor. The investor has the stress level, but it's your name on the plate, and you have to, if you develop the name that you're consistently failing businesses, how do you expect to continue on in that industry? So you do have a stress level in the beginning to develop a successful name of bringing your investors profit, because your name will get out there and you will have to move markets. So, but and that is where money might make money there as well, because they are in the position to invest. The investors make money because they're in the position to invest and bring money to you, and you're just potentially using your mind, your brain, and your learning curve that you had learned in your studies. If you're not bringing any of your risk financially to the table, in those real estate types of ventures. So, but that's real estate for you. But people get on here, they're like, what else? They're like drop shipping, depending on how easy that can be, how strenuous that could be. It could be easy, it could be hard. Just get on and do these step-by-step processes, just pay for their course. And so I did see one video by Sarah Finance, and y'all probably heard of her if you've listening to this. And she did a drop shipping video, spending less than $100. I think it was like $60. And she made like maybe $1,400 It was over $1,000. And she did it for 24 hours. So the advertisement ran for maybe less than 36 hours on maybe YouTube or Instagram or something. Because she had contacted her influencer. She did it through an influencer. That was her advertising strategy. There were several she knew about, and I'm not sure she talked about them or not. I don't know how much time I spent, because this was a couple years ago I saw this video. I'm just remembering this. And she went in, and she turned $60 into over $1,000. And this is where she didn't have to buy the product. Of course, the product is owned by someone else, and she gets money because she upcharges for it. And so that is really cool. You're like, well, it's not cool for the people getting upcharged. Well, they might not have heard of the product either, and they wouldn't have had the product. People go, they don't have to buy it. It helps commerce. It does this to commerce. It does that to commerce. I'm not trying to do anything with controversy or anything. But there's affiliate marketing, but you do need people on your website or blog or YouTube video to do affiliate marketing and have affiliate links to click through and see the item for sale. So there's so many different things. There's print on demand. Print on demand is really awesome. I see a lot of print on demand on YouTube videos, and they have items for sale and that are just like that. So and so does it take money to make money? And where it could be just that 100,000 or that 1 million, you have $1 million. If it goes up 1%, that's $10,000. So it would take 1/10 of 1% for it to go up $1,000. And so the amount of it, if in the course of a year of 10% of it going up 10%, that's $100,000 that it went up. So that's when you start thinking, whoa, if I mean to tell me, how is that fair? Of course, we're not discussing fair, but in reality, if you have $1 million and someone else has $10,000, and they might have been working real hard for their $10,000 to put that in there, and someone, however they got it, maybe they worked really hard for it too, maybe they didn't. However they got it, but they have the $1 million, and this other person has $10,000, and over the course of the year, that went up 10%, and $10,000 went up $1,000, and on the $1 million, it went up $100,000. $100,000. That is not just any salary. That is a phenomenal salary. So subscribe, like the video, like the podcast. But so when it takes money to make money, it really can be motivating when you think about, whoa, I need to make decisive, intentional investment and saving decisions.